Hi friends and family, welcome back to our living room. I hope you're gonna like this today. Norm is thinking it's pretty fun. He said it looks like a florist shop. That's what I was aiming for. Something like going into our local lovely nursery where they have lots of gifts and potted plants. So I just somehow got this idea popped in my head that I have so many green vintage planters. And I just thought, spring, you think of planting already. I can't wait. I don't do any in the ground anymore. It's just too hard for me. But I do love potting up planters for around the front of the house in particular. So I really had a lot of fun. I was planting and potting like you wouldn't believe for 2 weeks in here. Isn't that crazy? But I really did have fun. And of course, I'm just using beans. White beans sometimes, but I'm starting to prefer pinto beans that are brown and speckly, and even started buying some littler black beans. They're more expensive though, but I do like it because it looks like dirt. Some of you are new to our channel and we welcome you. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching. I hope you are all having a good March. It's going fast. Yesterday was St. Patty's Day. We hope you did have fun celebrating if you do celebrate. I have a little bit of Irish in me on my dad's side, and I don't think Norm does. Let's start down here. I don't know if you have seen this huge ceramic frog. I can't even tell you where I found it, but I hope this is not considered a yoga position. I don't think so. I might be wrong. I don't know anything about yoga. Almost looks to me like just a prayer position, but who knows? I just thought he was incredible. And there isn't any, like a mold mark on the bottom. I really thought I was going to be able to find him, but I didn't. So he is now my biggest frog for indoors. I have some very large frogs that are ceramic that we bought many years ago for our garden, and they are very fun being big. But there's certain ones like him I would not put out there. But I confess, I did have this big McCoy one out there. I was looking and shopping for frogs for the garden that were big enough that you could see them from the house. And believe it or not, it was quite a few years ago, I found this guy for $6. Ugh, I had no idea what a deal. Well, he's been outside. I brought him in from the shed along with all these green pots. And I've had this fun, big, splat ceramic piece for several years. I thrifted it for a couple dollars probably. It is kind of fun, and I kind of think of it as just something for a pond look. And I brought the little tiny newly purchased frog that was in the front entrance that I showed you. I just brought him back out to sit on that. But I want to show you this. I've just a couple days ago went to the two lovely antique malls in Rogers, Minnesota. I found this in Antiques 101. It's a really sweet little ceramic pot, really small. And it was $3 only, but after a 20% discount, what was that? I was thrilled because the lady also had another one, even tinier yet. One was $3 and one was $2. Yeah, so the other one's up on the glass table over there. So with the 20% discount, that was $2.40. It is so cute. I'll check and see if there's something on the bottom. Oh, that's right. I didn't even notice in the store. I did turn it over to look at it, and I found that it was hobbyist. And I could see it was signed too, but for some reason I didn't pay enough attention to the signature. So I got home and I was going to wash it, and I was just blown away. It is signed Peggy, and it is exactly like my signature. This is what the bottom of the pot looked like, and I saw the little dots right there, and it almost looked like it said Peggy. And Norm said the same thing when I turned it over and showed it to him at home, because the top loop on the E is pretty pale. So just glancing at it, that's hard to see that it said Peggy. I would have had to really look at it good, but I was kind of in a hurry in the store. Norm was waiting for me out in the car. I wasn't doing any ceramics class in 1976, but that's how I write my name. Been doing it that way all my adult life that I know of. Yep. I don't know, maybe there is only one way to write Peggy, but that's not the way Norm writes it. I thought that was pretty cool. Sometimes I end up spending days trying to figure out how to incorporate new things that I've thrifted on the walls. You've seen how I had my brother's 3 Musketeer vintage mallards up on this wall. I'm very happy with them. I know you've all seen them, but anyways, I decided these were so sweet. I bought them at a thrift store, and I just can't remember which one. I think it's a Goodwill, and they weren't very much each, but I will show you that, let you know what I paid for them each. They're in excellent condition. I wash them in Murphy's oil soap because of the wood. The wood looked wonderful. I didn't have to do anything to it. And I love swans. As you know, I've got swans all over the living room here and even in the dining room. I just have always wanted to do some little thing on this side wall. Of course, Norm says, well, there goes the last empty wall. Now it's filled. He really gives me a hard time for putting more things up. I'm thrilled. I hope you like how that turned out. They're all so similar, the way they're made. It makes a very nice grouping, I think, over here. And I really don't have to change anything ever again if I want to keep the mallards where they are there. I don't have to put up a little shelf over here anymore. I've had this thrifted planter for quite a few years now. That's real dirt. This is a real plant, Sansevieria, but I don't know what type it is. You know, there's many types usually in a certain grouping of a plant. So this I've never seen before. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can see it is a snake plant. So this is the other tiny little $2 planter that I found. I think it's adorable. Yes, it's probably newer, but that was okay with me because it was 20% off. Yeah, so it's cute. I decided to do a couple of your orangier succulents over here. I was kind of running out of green succulents. You've seen this green glass, art glass swan that I've had in our decor before. So I thought I'd just keep it out here and a little bit of candy in it. These guys are a little embarrassing. I think, did I find them in Hickston? I'm not sure, but it's been a while, and I don't believe I've shown them to you yet because I did not get them early enough for last year's spring video. Aren't they crazy? Yeah, I guess I'll have to look on the bottom of them to see if I can see anything. Nope, there's no markings. But it is heavy. When I picked it up, I was pretty surprised. Really a heavy piece. Wow. I didn't even think to use the Google Lens to see if I could find them. But they're a little embarrassing. Sorry. Don't like to impose on your romantic moment there. I'm going to put a light on in this Thrifted votive, really a dark olive green. I didn't look it up either to see who made this. I may have done that in previous videos because I have shared it before, but I have quite a light battery light in there. It's so dark that it needs this big light in it. Hopefully you can see it better now that it's olive green. There are two settings to this tube battery light, either solid, which is brighter because it lights up way up high, and this one that is really flickering. But I just wanted to set that out again for the evenings if I want a little mood lights going. So I hope you like how this turned out, but especially I'm thrilled with my swans and mallards. Just thrilled. In the window over here, we've most of the time had a good size vintage table lamp of some design. We've fallen for quite a few of them over the years, and then sometimes we get tired of them. I used to have a beautiful green one, but I decided to give it away. It's too bad. I would love to have shown that today, but I'm happy sometimes just having some art glass in the window instead of a lamp, because a lamp does take up a lot of space. What I did was take the little vintage pottery one that I've had sitting on the glass table over here in the corner. So I decided to put this little toad over here. I don't know. Yeah, this has got KH, but I can't see any year. 70, maybe that's a 7 and a 0. I wouldn't doubt it. But what I did with several of my frogs this past week is look for some more of my little glass eyes, and this is a very tiny pair, the tiniest that I got in this mixture. I have real big ones that I could maybe use out in the yard on some of my frogs whose eyes have gotten very dull or chipped. The paint has chipped on them. But I had a pair of these. You can see, you know, they don't lay flat because the frogs and toads had bulging eyes to begin with, but that doesn't bother me. Norm really likes how they look, because you're typically looking at it sitting on a table like this anyways, and you can see a little bit of it when you look down. So I just happen to have a little tiny pair that would work with him. So he's a little hobbyist piece. I have shared him before. I just thrifted this, and I have the video at the Goodwill. I can't remember what it was, but I was working on a video last night of some of the thrifting things in the Goodwill in one place and the Salvation Army in another. So these are all different pieces than what I had in the front entrance. Completely different pieces. I just purchased this one. You did see it in the latest video that we did with 3 antique malls in Annie's Attic is where I found this, and it was in the video. And I didn't know what the size of the one I already had was. I knew I had one, but for some reason I thought that was bigger and that this one was going to be smaller, but it turned out they're both identical size, which is fine. So this is probably what, a rose bowl, and a lovely vase I have shared from last year. Love that one. Another little, I don't know, are they always rose bowls when they're about that size? So this was my older swan, and he is a darker green with golds in it. That one is paler over there, but I love him. And this was a birthday gift from Norm from the same video. It didn't get in the video, but it was from the Mall of St. Paul. Yeah, it's a Viking piece. And I really like it. I love olive green. Now, this is one of my favorite pots. I hope I can somehow get the texture. We still have a lot of light coming through in the living room here. This is a speckled glaze, and I don't know who made it, but I found this several years back. I was always hunting for planters with pedestals. I've made the mistake of saying footed. I really shouldn't say that unless it has 3 feet. 3 little feet on it. It really probably should be called a pedestal. And just loved how it flared out. It's a very sage, soft sage green, but I think it's just elegant, so I wanted to feature it here on the plant stand, my brother's plant stand, and I was happy to find this, what I believe is a prayer plant. Aren't these the ones that close up at night in the dark? I think so. I used to grow them in the living room here, actually, because I got so much sun coming through our window. We didn't even have our window completely covered when we first moved in for probably good 10 years or more. So I used to grow a lot of plants sitting on the coffee table or some desk over here. The blonde desk was here for many years with a lamp on it. Now, I don't know if I've shared this California planter in lime green. I could probably have found it on the internet if I had looked hard enough. I better move this so you can see the gold holder. I just love this. I kind of twisted Norm's arm. Where were we? I don't know why I can't remember where we were when I discovered this. Oh, I was so thrilled. I just love things like this. So that is why I've kind of been saving this. I thought I was going to have it at the end wall between the living room and the dining area and kitchen there. I've got 2 plant hangers, and I really thought that was where I was going to be showing it, but once I had gotten this owl up here, our newest purchase from Hopkins Antique Mall or Antiques on Main. It's always hard for me to remember the name of it. But anyways, found it in their basement, and I showed it to you in the previous video with, did I have those plants hanging in it? Possibly. But anyways, I decided that it was a lot, that particular plant. And I just thought, you know, I've got this little art glass owl that would be very funny. You could put a candle votive in there, a little tea light if you wanted to for at night. That would be fun. But I didn't right now, so I hope you think that's funny. Yeah, it's its baby, right? Yeah. That's fun. I've had this little vase, and I actually found it at Goodwill many years ago. I think it was like $3. I was pretty fortunate. And I also thrifted this metal thing that I have shown you before, and some of you even guessed as to what might have been in that ring. I just happened to try this green, dark green and light green drip like little votive, I'm gonna call it. I tried it this morning and I was kind of surprised that it worked. So I did put a little bit of beans in there and tried to get this asparagus fern to stay. There are some really cool planter rings to hang up in gold, or I don't know what the other color was, on Amazon that I was looking at, so I could get that one down there back to where I would like it on the end wall. And I'd like to have two matching ones up here that, for a change, because for many, many years, you know, I've had those gold, large, long, beaded plant hangers that I made many, many years ago before I was doing videos. I've had them up here. I had 4 of them, actually. 2 of them were quite long and 2 of them were shorter for a variety of height. And I've always had to figure out pots, and I used to put real plants in them, but they just got so big. The plants just grew and grew, and I was constantly trying to either cut them back or take them out and put something new in. So I just decided I've gotten a little bit tired of the putting real pots in it and using those plant hangers. So I wanted to do this to do something different and have a more fun modern look. As you can tell, obviously, I love brass and gold. I just think it's classy, and I just love the geometric, simple designs like this. So that worked out kind of fun that I could actually get a plant in there, because I don't know if that was meant for a plant or just for a votive. I don't know. You've seen my horse from Wells, Minnesota. I can't think of the name of it, the antique mall there, but we did do a video of them, maybe more than one video, I think. I might even have a playlist, but I really was thrilled with that horse. I don't know if it's meant to be a bookend, who knows, but there was only one. And I thrifted this from, maybe it was Legacy Thrift a year or more ago, and I knew that was vintage pottery. It was very cheap, and I thought, wow. And it's not broken anywhere. I don't know if I've shared it with you yet, but I think after I got home I did try to find it. Maybe I had just started using the Google Lens that I had found out about. So yes, it is vintage pottery. And maybe it had a particular company that made them, other pieces. I used to have a tiny miniature vase that looked exactly like it. Maybe you're familiar with it. So, you know, we've had this from Wild Vintage Collective for at least a year now. Love that. Probably a Hager piece, right? I was happy to find a couple tiny little potted plants that's, is that more your peperomia? I shouldn't be guessing at plant names. I'm not an expert. I have had some of these real, but it could be in that family. But they were potted in a tiny little black pot. You've seen my turtle last year. It's a bank. I love him. Really sweet. Don't remember where I found that. Thrifted this Hager piece, vase. Definitely was at a thrift store. I found this at the Pink Squirrel, and I have shared it before in green videos or summery ones, or tropical, my tropical one. I'm sure I used it there. I think it was like $9. Yeah, wow, what a steal that was. It was either $6 or $9. I just was completely shocked. Ran to find Norm to show him how excited I was. He's got beans in his mouth. Yep, that was a wonderful, wonderful find. A thrill. I've got 2 of these McCoy, little crazy looking wood grain watering cans. That one of them is a light green and it's got gold on it, so it's fancier than this one. On the other side, the other shelving, and this is a very unusual one, isn't it? It's got some blue green in there, but I still loved it because it had a pedestal. And this is one of my, well, it is my biggest rose lane owl, vintage owl from the 60s. Rose Lane was a California pottery company. I really love him. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And this is fairly new, pedestal one. Fairly new. It's probably should be twisted more like that. So I tried to do as much ferns and grasses as I could for spring. I ran out. Oh, and this is a new find too. I can't remember now off the top of my head where I just purchased that, but it's a nice little one. I thought the leaves in that plant went with it nicely. Yeah, that's pretty unique. I just love all the shades put together. And I just thrifted this little bird too at the Goodwill. I could not get a battery votive in there at all. It's definitely indented for something like that, but it's just a little too tight. So I happened to run across in my stash drawer of candle supplies, I had this really delicious smelling, it smells like a vanilla lime. So it didn't fit in there real well, but what I did was light it, and well, I used a lighter, the gun type lighter, and I went all around the edges of the candle and made it drip down inside. So it's in there pretty good. And it does smell really nice, but it's so cute. Yeah, what a neat little bird. It's a hobbyist piece. Oh, what's up here? I enjoyed still taking out some of the fun drip glaze green vases and ewers, if that's what you want to call those with the handles on them. that I've found over quite a few years now. That one was from the Morin Mansion. Oh, I just love that one because of the crazy shape. That's probably my favorite kooky vase. And many years ago, when I showed you the one on the plant stand behind me here, the wood plant stand, I found this at the same time when I was looking for crazy planters with pedestals. I don't know who made this either, but it is a drip glaze that's a little more of a blue-green in the camera here. It's not quite that blue, but it's a heavy pot. I still like it because it's so odd. And I just found this Japan one last year, late last year maybe. I don't know if I've even shared it with you yet. Isn't that a dark olive? That is so cool. They are my favorite pots to find when they are Japan ones. I do, I love California pots. I love McCoy. But there's something about the lightweight, very textured, typically, Japan ones. What I did was put a different color plant in it, if I could do that, than what the pot was. So they're like two different colors. I think that works nicely. Yep, the bottom of that one is stamped Japan with a number right in the mold, but it also has a sticker, a golden black sticker that says Ardco. So, yep, that definitely has some identification. I've had this one for many, many, many years. Kind of odd, not being round, but I still love it. On both sides up here on the small shelves, I've got drip limey green and orange and black pot. Both of them are similar sizes, but they're different shapes, along with a green radio. I did not put plants in them way up there. Decided just to leave them. More of an artsy piece. Those geese are far away and the sun would be way up high. So I thought it was just fine with the clock, even higher yet. On this shelf and the other one, I tried to balance things as best as I could. Just love this little California. It is, a lot of them, these pieces that I have are actually still have the label on them. Yep, let me show you what these typically are. This crazy drip lime green. It is shaped like the state of California, Cal style, and it's, let me rest my hand here, Cal style ceramics, Torrance, California. So a lot of the pieces still have that sticker on it. I'm not crazy about having to have a sticker on it, but again, the bottom is painted gold. A lot of it's worn off, but a lot of your orangey ones too, when they're California originals, they'll have the gold painted bottom. Now this is another Japan one that I just love. A drab, what do I want to call that green? Just drab olive, a drab light olive. So I put the darker green plant in it. I shared these birds on a plant of some kind, or branch, grass. Found that for $6, I'm pretty sure. At least 2 years ago. So it's been in some of my videos, and I was thrilled to find a new one with one bird on it when we went to those 3 antique malls in St. Paul. And you saw me holding it. It's down below. It's a lighter green. So that's on the mantle. I love those kind of simple figurines. That's another one of the probably Hager. Always has a little bit of yellow, it seems. I see crazing on it, but I thought it was a really unique shape. This is kind of an ugly pot. It's got mushrooms on it, but I like ugly too. So I've got a little bit of fern on both sides and another ugly olive green pot over there. Yeah, it's McCoy. Maybe it's brush McCoy. I'm not always certain, but I'm learning. I was thrilled to find at Michael's, I think, bush that I separated, cut off the main stem so I could have just a couple, 2-3 pieces of the ivy there hanging down a little bit, and over there on the other side, divided up a little bit. It's hard to work with those great big huge thick bushes. I usually have Norm cutting them apart for me, but this is a very, very nice planter. Just love it. Square, ribbed, really nice. I found this somewhere and it was really cheap. I was so happy. Now this is my newest purchase. This is a California bird figurine, by the way. And you can find it on the internet. I was lucky to find it. So where did I just get this? We did go to Spicer, Minnesota and Paynesville, Minnesota. A couple of antique malls there, but I'm forgetting where I got that already. I'm sorry, I just don't have the memory I used to. But I liked it because I do like low planters too. I don't want them all the same height. These were great. This one, I just love this one. This is a Japan one. Yeah, I can look on the bottom to see again who did that. But you see how it's kind of fun to put a different color plant in it and not match the pot so it stands out. And in a pot like this, I don't want to cover up the pot, so I don't have anything hanging around it. See, when you start getting into this kind of thing, you're gonna hide the pot. This is another, I think this is another newer find. This last year, a decade or more ago, I started collecting them because I loved having them outside on display too. It is wood grain look again. So up here is the other fern, a very fun splatter glaze vase I have shared before from Wild Vintage Collective last year. I love stuff like that. And this is small, also I think new last year. I seem to be finding the really drab olive ones. It is weird. Olive must have been pretty popular years ago. This I love too. Oh, I was so thrilled to find this ceramic piece. Don't know anything about it. This is probably one of my favorites in the darker green. Look at that pattern. And I have shared them in previous videos, this one. Yep, usually the darker green like this, I'm using in Christmas videos. They're beautiful with your red decor. Just love those. So let me go back to my Hager horse face that I do use. I just wanted you to see the crazy thistle-like greenery that I love to take out for spring in him. So what do we have down? Let's go down here. I didn't have too many big ferns left and I hated to go buy some more. There's a little bit of odd one in my large Hager swan over there that's like working with Velcro. It's curled. The leaves or stems, they're so curled up that you cannot unstick them very easily from each other. It drives you crazy. Exactly like working with Velcro. Yeah, so that lovely Hager swan was a birthday present from a couple years ago at least, from the Antique Mall of Rogers. A splurge, but that's what I requested. Norm knew that I would love to have that, so he surprised me with it. One here, I couldn't remember a little bit ago where I found him, but I remember taking him off a shelf in an antique shop and seeing that he was only $6. I thought that was just incredible. I was so excited to run and find Norm in the store and show him this adorable frog. It was in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. There's an antique mall there that we think is very fun. We don't get up there very often. It's quite a drive. But anyways, I didn't keep the rhinestone eyes on him, but I did find a couple pairs of glass eyes for these two. I had mentioned in the previous videos with cats that I have, and trying to think if there were any other animals that I put some eyes on. Pretty much cats. During the winter months I wasn't showing any frogs, but I had a very tiny pair of green ones that worked on this guy. This, I don't remember where I found this guy. He's pretty big. I put him with the black line going horizontal because I just thought it would help make him look like he was sleepy. He's kind of a mean looking toad. Those nostrils make him look mean, like I had talked about in last year's video. And this guy is very cute. I found this at the Goodwill, and he was so dirty inside because somebody had him out in their garden. But I could put bigger eyes in him because he just had a much bigger opening than the toad. I don't know if he's considered a toad. Maybe he is. I bet. Yeah. But he's really cute, and I was very happy to find him at a really good price at the Goodwill because, like I say, I think they had him marked down because he was so dirty. But he's a hobbyist piece. This one, there's no markings on him. Yeah, I just think they're really fun to have. I guess what got me hooked on them was having our garden, because we started collecting big frogs to put out in the garden, and toads. Since I've already gotten down on my knees for the frogs, I might as well come over here to our low coffee table and show you I finally been finding enough green dishes that are leafy, all of them. Just love them. This one might have gotten moved a little bit more up against the edge there. It's so pretty. I wonder what this one was. I know when I got it, I was thrilled. I'll take it out. Isn't that gorgeous? Just beautiful. I've seen this leaf in, I think I bought it in brown with some lighter drip glaze. Not as pretty as this green one. I sure would love to see one in orange. Okay, what does it say? Metlocks, that's right. It is by Metlocks. And partial sticker on here. Oh, Poppy Trail, that's what the sticker says. Have you heard of that? Poppy Trail Pottery. I really got a good deal on this. For what it is, I took 3 old planters, McCoy, most likely. I know these 2 probably are, with the trays on them, so they were similar. And wanted to do succulents over here with the white beans. So I think that turned out fun. Light and dark, bigger, smaller. And I just thrifted this egg too. That is a very nice ceramic egg. It's a big one. It is not your normal size egg. It's very big. So let's go look at the other 2 dishes over there. I know this is making the video longer, but I hope you enjoy seeing them. This is, I don't know, is this California? Santa Ana ware, really? I didn't remember that. But it's definitely California. Isn't that a beauty though? Oh, I just love leaf dishes. I think they're so pretty. All that texture drip. Now this was at Wild Vintage Collective. In the winter months, I think. It's in a video, I believe. Well, I'm finally getting over here more. You've seen that I had 2 donkeys, beautiful, big pottery pieces. This one was marked 25, but then when I went to check out in Paynesville, Minnesota, an antique mall there that we just love going to, and we were there not too long ago. But this was from a couple years ago. It was on sale. I think it was 20 or 25% off. I was really shocked. I thought, wow, that's great. Yeah, so, excuse me. So I decided to put a cactus in him, and it's a lamp base. So there's a little hole in back, and I did show you that last time I shared this crazy guy. So it worked well to just stick a little succulent stem back there to cover up that hole. Now, where did we just see this? The Antique Mall of Rogers, 20% off sale. Yeah, it's so cool. Norm said, oh, I like that. Can I use that for my Western bedroom? I said, yeah, sure, but let me just put him first in here with the donkey. Thought it would be a fun accent piece. I'm sure it's new, but it's pretty fun. Again, California drip glaze, pretty wild. And one of those Sansevieria faux plants in that I bought 2 of. This is very small, and I just found it last year, probably in the summer months. I thought it was so cute, just so tiny. This is many years ago I found this beautiful Japan planter. It's gorgeous. So it's nice to put the drab colors next to something so bright. And I have shared these to crazy hobbyists. A bottle more and I don't know what you'd call that, with the adorable finials on them. I wish it wasn't quite so brown. Wish there was more green on them, but I thought they'd be kind of quiet in between here. I don't know. This was my brother's, and I don't know anything about it, but it's pretty wild. I don't believe for 1 minute that's a hobbyist piece. It's quite different. I have shared it before, and this is a Hager one. I found that at the Goodwill too. Might have been like $5.99, something like that, a year or more ago. It matches two vases that I have with that same pale green. A nice bright green, but gets very pale because of all the white drip on it. This was a favorite from many years ago. Just so cool. It's pretty wide. And this is a fun combination. It's taken years to find these. This one has a label on it. The Torrance, California. This at the antique mall that's way out in the country, Wells, Minnesota. Yep. That was pretty reasonable. Yep. So that was great. Love the ones with the handles on them. This is also a very pretty planter. Some ferny stuff, and here's the fun other fancier one with gold on it. Yeah, it was fun finding those. Let me see if there's any markings on the bottom of it. It says 24K gold guaranteed. Or was that 22? You know, I don't want to spill the beans here. 23. Oh, it's off a little bit, but that's stamped in gold. Yeah, I was lucky to find that. So we're almost done over here anyways. Another small Hager vase. This is Red Wing. Very common mold. I've had one in pink, typically speckled. I like them too. Another crazy California one. Very crazy. More Hager. That was our newest vase, the tall one. That was thrilling. I don't know for sure if that was Wild Vintage Collective too. I can't remember. Last summer, spring or summer. Yep. So again, here's 3 pillows. The 2 left ones are from Wild Vintage Collective. And this one I found many years ago, can't remember. But this is a very small Afghan. I absolutely love it. Just found that, maybe was it? It could have been 2 years ago or a year and a half. At the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, it was only $7, $10 each, or 2 of them for $14. So I did get 2 of a different one too. I can't remember what it is, but I just love the colors in this one. Yep. So I think I suppose I can leave the light on. I have always loved to put the vintage glass pieces in here. I know that you've seen this before, but they do get changed. I still keep finding more glass pieces that I just love. Very reasonable. This is a new basket, the green one. I knew I had one, so it was great finding a second one, especially in green. Yep, so I don't remember for sure any others, but the little orange bottle was a gift from Molly, who has a wonderful booth at Wild Vintage Collective. She gave us that beautiful bottle, Italian bottle that has grapes on it. That bottle in the middle is so sweet, and I can't remember anything about that either. It's been a while since we purchased that, so sorry, I just can't think of where it was. Just so sweet. Crazy about that. So I hope you enjoy seeing the glassware. That's what my favorite is. So over here, I am thrilled that I have, over the years, found enough ducks, swans, frogs, and this big bird was from Hickston Schoolhouse. We hadn't been there for a year or two, and I didn't buy it. I wanted it, but I didn't get it. So I was hoping and hoping that she'd still be there. And it was. Oh, I couldn't believe it was still there. You know, it's really funny. Do you do that? Where you leave something behind and you don't get back to a particular mall for a year or two, and believe it or not, it's still there. That's crazy, isn't it? Yep. So I've had one of these. I just love their crazy coloring. I had one for many years, and a year ago, Legacy Thrift had one in their antique area. I think they were asking like 12 or 14, I don't know, but it might have been a little splurge. Typically, I don't spend that much on any one piece in a thrift store, but I knew I was gonna really enjoy having both of them. So let me zoom back out again. These two were my mom's. That's a really sweet one, and I have shared these with you before. So there's 3 frogs on that one. So cute. Is that called a strawberry planter? I suppose. I don't know who made it, but... And we bought this for $5 at Up Your Alley Vintage 2-3 years ago. Time is flying. I thought it was a real deal. It's fun for spring or even fall. And this was fairly new. Did I get that at the pink squirrel sale? Yeah, you'd be surprised who made that. That was a couple years ago. Kind of plain, but it's quaint. And I don't remember where I got this from either, but it's a pretty wild little swan. I'm sure it's a California piece again. So I hope you like how that turned out. It's kind of fun having all those birds and critters on there. I lucked out having enough pieces that were actually planters. So much fun I had doing all of this. And like I say, yesterday was St. Patty's Day, so I'm late as far as trying to look like I'm decorating for that holiday. I'm just decorating for March and spring, so I still have the dining room to do, in the kitchen. I even have little shamrock washi tape on the shelves, but I missed St. Patty's Day with the shamrocks, but I think you're gonna love it. Oh, Norm says hi, and also thank you so much from both of us for your prayers. He's really looking forward to soon having his surgery. So he's pretty anxious and thanks you so much for your prayers. You are all so sweet. We love you and we wish you a wonderful week ahead. It's pretty cold here. Very cold again. Bummer. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye now.